Hello, my name is Jimmy and this is the 2022 Acura MDX Type-S. Now, don't get fooled by the Type-S thinking this is some sort of full-fat M Performance or AMG competitor. Think of this more of a, you have your regular MDX, and then if you want a slightly, well, more powerful, more performance to your MDX, well, this is it, the Type-S. While the base MDX starts at 58,000 Canadian dollars, the Type-S starts at 79,000. This is the Type-S Ultra, or Advanced as you call it in the US. Here in Canada, this is an 83,000 Canadian dollar vehicle. Now you might be saying, $83,000, that's quite a bit for an Acura Type-S MDX. You're not wrong, I mean, it's definitely pricey, but what I can say is, if you compare this to a German rival, well, you're saving a lot there. As it is basically a brand new model, I do want to talk a little bit about styling, but it is, well, subjective. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. But here are some notes about it. The front end, well, it's very, well, similar to the regular MDX. The only difference is the grille as well as the bumper. It has been redesigned and it does look good, especially with this red, the black and red contrast. It just looks great. And then off to the side, we got these 21-inch wheels. They're wrapped in Continental rubber, and behind it, big brakes. Yes, you do get a brake upgrade with the Type-S. I mean, are you really gonna use it all the time? Probably not. But you know, the times that you do want better stopping power, you'll be thankful to have those. As the Type-S MDX does have air suspension, right now it is on the lowest setting, which is 0.6 of an inch lower, but you can lift it as well using the infotainment system. I mean, it looks good. Personally, I would want it just a little bit lower, but that's just me, I'm weird. You get black surrounds on those windows and then more black on the bottom. Of course, there's red and black theme is all throughout the vehicle. You got the mirror caps as well as the roof rails on top. And of course, I gotta say this, thank you Acura for putting the door locks not only on the front but also the rear doors. So as a father myself, often I have to walk up to the vehicle with my son in my hand. I want to get him into the vehicle. I don't want to walk to the front, unlock it and go to the back. That's, well, for 83,000 Canadian dollars, that's a little painful. So you do have the door pulls on the back, and of course you can lock and unlock them. Let's check out the rear. The back. I mean, it looks like an MDX. You got a spoiler on top, that's normal. The only real difference here are the quad exhaust tips that's on the bottom. I mean, let's take a quick listen to how they sound. Yeah, sadly, they're kind of unassuming. I mean, they look good, but they don't give you the sound that you're expecting from a performance SUV. That's why I said right at the beginning, don't think of it as one, because you're gonna get let down if you keep thinking it is. But, I mean, I like the looks of the vehicle. It's the MDX, right? It looks good. The details in like the headlights, taillights, it's just a good looking vehicle overall. But let's take a quick peek here, starting with the trunk. Inside, you get a decent amount of space. Even with the third row up, there's, well, sufficient amount of space for whatever you really need. The rear floor, like I have it, it's actually a little bit lower than the rest of it, but of course you can lift it back up so that you get a fully flat floor so you can load up all your items and whatever you have. It's not bad. And I love this feature. You press a button on the side, and when you walk away, the door closes. Now that we're done with the trunk, let's get inside of the cabin. There are two buttons that's on the seat to help you kind of push that forward to get into the third row. There's one here, and there's one on the back as well. Getting in isn't hard, but I mean, you're still kind of squeezing yourself in here. Well, the third row is, like most third rows, relatively cramped. I'm 5'11", and as you can see, I don't really fit all that well. But good news is you can move the second row seats forward a little, at least the outboard ones, or eliminate this seat entirely so that you can get some legroom back here, but certainly for kids, not really for adults like myself. So I'm gonna get out of here. So, all right, the second row. I'm 5'11", and I mean, I got enough headroom and legroom is good. If I want to sacrifice my own legroom, I can. So that way I can give whoever's in the third row a little bit more space. But do I really want to do that? Probably not. What I can also do is eliminate this center seat. If I do that, it's basically the same thing as the Honda Odyssey. Really, really smart system. But if I take this seat out, I just get more space in here. The only thing is, when you generally have captain chairs, you want armrests. But if you eliminate this, you don't get center armrests. So you kind of lose out on the armrest altogether if you take out the seat. So just leave it there. You can fold it down and, well, it's absolutely fine. The seats are heated, which is nice, and you get baby shades off to the side. And speaking of baby shades, well, as you can see, I do have my Kleck Fünf here on the passenger side, and it absolutely fits, no problems at all. The cabin is nice and big for you to pop your child in and out of those child seats. If your child is younger, here's a Kleck Ling infant seat. Behind the driver, like I said, I'm 5'11", and there's absolutely no problems of fitting this child seat in. What's nice is because the MDX is relatively wide, you can actually fit 3 child seats across. Here it is in the regular MDX. I didn't get a chance to put it in the Type-S, but it's exactly the same. So yeah, that's really it for the back seats here. Let's head up to the front. All right, the front seats. As this is the top trim with all the options, I got a 16-way adjustable seat here with heated seat controls, cooled seats, as well as massaging seats. And what I will say, these massaging seats are much, much better than the Infiniti QX60. Those ones, they're just like little things that move you around. And here, this feels like there's just more going on. And there's 3 levels of that, so if you're not a big fan, you can turn it down or off completely. I do like the seats themselves. In front of me, my Type-S steering wheel. I do like this because, well, I like the perforated leather and the flat bottom that you get. There is a bunch of buttons on the wheel itself, but you do get used to them over time, so that's not too big of a problem. You get paddles on the back, and they're nice and metallic, and a full digital cluster right behind it. The digital cluster is very similar to the regular MDX, but of course, being a Type-S, you have a few more modes, and because of that, it looks, well, slightly different. A little bit more red, really. And if you put it on Sport Plus mode, you can see the maximum boost your MDX has hit. So that's kind of cool. I mean, the cluster itself, it works great. There's multiple different views and modes that you can kind of choose from. No real problems there. Heads-up display works just as well. And then the infotainment, which is the mixed bag that all new Acura products has, other than the Integra, because that's the Civic infotainment. This is an actual Acura infotainment. And I mean, it works. But you're using this touchpad, and the touchpad doesn't really work well. I mean, I can rant about this for hours, but honestly, for people who are using the CarPlay, and it has wireless CarPlay, so that's good. You connect up to your phone, you're in wireless CarPlay, then you're just using your regular swipe gestures, and it's absolutely fine. You're not gonna get confused. The only times you're gonna get confused is if you're switching between the CarPlay system and the Acura system. Because in CarPlay, using full swipe gestures from one icon to the next, whereas in Acura's system, well, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Whatever's on the top left of the screen, you hit top left of the trackpad. So it's a little weird in the different systems, but I think for most people, you're gonna get used to it, and it's not gonna be a huge issue. And you have a dedicated volume knob, so I mean, the button that you need most often, it's there. Climate control is easy to use. It's all right there. You don't have to dive into the system for that. And the rest of the cabin, it's pretty nice. I mean, with this one here, I get this metallic wood trim that I have on the side. Yes, there's still plenty of glossy black plastics, but honestly, it's not that bad, and it's not everywhere. You do have some USB charge ports here, regular as well as USB-C. You get cup holders and pretty large center bin for all your knickknacks. And that's really it. It's updated a little bit from the regular MDX. You have this amazing 25 speaker ELS audio system, and it sounds great. I'm not an audiophile by any means, but in here, it's one of the best audio systems I've heard. It rivals the XC90's Bowers & Wilkins. I think it's a Bowers & Wilkins. The one that's in the XC90 with that concert hall system, that one sounds really good, and this sounds really, really good as well. And that's really it. Let's go for a drive and see what the MDX is like on the road. All right, on the road with the MDX Type-S, the fun part really. Underneath the hood, it's a 3-liter V6 helped by a twin-scroll single turbocharger. It makes 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. Made it to that, a 10-speed automatic and super handling all-wheel drive. It's quite quick. It's not as quick as a TLX Type-S, but I shall now demonstrate with my face exactly what the acceleration looks like. I'm gonna use my left foot to brake. It doesn't have launch control or anything like that, but just a little bit of brake boost. It's gonna build boost about 3 psi, but then we're gonna go 3 and then go. It's quick. It's really quick. No, it's not like 500 or 600 horsepower quick, but for 355, yeah, absolutely it's quick. I love how this engine works. Like the amount of power that it has, the amount of torque that it's able to provide, like low down, it's actually quite astonishing. So you're driving around normally and you need to accelerate, you don't need to like floor it, you can just dip in the throttle a little bit and it goes. It's actually great. That's why I like to think of this as a higher level of performance compared to the regular MDX rather than a full-on performance SUV. It doesn't really feel like that. But what it does feel is all these bumps on the road. The suspension, well, the way I have it set up is the stiffest setting in the dampers. I think that works best with the stiffer springs that it has because, well, the ride, yes, is a little stiffer and you feel a lot of it, but I don't mind it. I feel like that's kind of the essence of this SUV. I mean, yes, you can put it on comfort and normal, but with those modes, it feels a little jiggly, a little bit more than I like in this kind of platform. So I like to put it on sport. And what I like even more is use the dynamic mode button to hit individual mode. And I do like that because you can set up the car the way you like. So for me, I have suspension on stiffest, but the engine as well as the steering on the normal setting. So that way, well, it's able to just deliver better fuel economy because, I mean, as prices are right now, it's a pretty big concern. And steering, I don't want like an overly heavy steering. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that. So I like that individual setting so I can kind of set it up the way I would like. You do have a Sport and Sport Plus, and Sport Plus does kind of boost everything up and you get a max boost level on your boost gauge. So that's kind of cool. But no matter how you drive it, I mean, it is quite sporty. Sure, it's not like X5M sporty. You know, you got to get that out of your mind. But for what it is, it's quite good. That super handling all-wheel drive, as long as you drive it a little bit more differently. So instead of like going kind of like faster into the corner, what you want to do is you kind of want to do slow in and fast out. And with that, you want to use throttle to boost kind of that rear end rotation. Because of that super handling all-wheel drive, it works best during heavy acceleration. Well, that's when you're going to feel kind of that rear end kind of turn around. And it's very unique in how it feels. This super handling all-wheel drive, it's been around since I think like 2010 or so, or actually before that. The RDX had it in 2007, I think it was. Yeah, 07 or 08. And my parents bought that RDX, loved the system, had a lot of fun with it in the snow. But the system itself is magnificent, but you do have to drive it a little bit more differently to get the most out of the system itself and just, well, get that little bit of oversteering feel that you normally won't get in this kind of front-wheel drive biased all-wheel drive system. I mean, overall, the MDX Type-S is a great vehicle. It really is. Just keep in your mind that this is just a higher level of performance for the MDX line. Don't think of it as a performance SUV and you won't get disappointed. I mean, yes, it can do a lot of things that other performance SUVs can, and it actually does feel really good, but it's not some 500 or 600 horsepower monster. Just keep that in mind, and you'll be very happy with this vehicle. The pricing at 83,000 Canadian dollars might seem like a lot, but you can't get an X7 with this level of performance for anything close to that price. I think even an X7, the base one, is like $100,000. So, I mean, it's $20,000 more than this, just for, you know, the same passenger capacity. Sure, it's a BMW, and people think, you know, you got the brand, you've got the loyalty, it's a little bit more prestige, but, you know, it's an Acura. It still feels good. The materials are nice, the interior cabin is great, there's plenty of room for the first 2 rows, the third row is a little tight. In terms of your family, it fits all of that. The seat in the middle is actually really, really smart. Panoramic sunroof lets in plenty of light. It's a really good vehicle overall. There's nothing really bad about it. The only thing is the stigma behind a Type-S being a true performance SUV. It just doesn't really fit that mark. As long as you don't think about that, then it's absolutely fine. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.